This is continuing in my Saturday Superlative series, and now I'm turning to the defense. And if I look happy, it's because I am happy. I have 2 pages worth of notes on superlatives on defense. And in this challenging and difficult time, just period, challenging and difficult, but especially to play defense with all the advantages possible being slanted towards offense, it's exciting to see so many really good defensive performances. Just some whole units showed up and had great performances. But I'm going to start with a couple of players in particular. Michigan State's defense as a whole was terrific and led them to victory over Northwestern, which doesn't have a great offense. But nonetheless, they really did what they needed to do. And I'm going to mention Shakur Brown, who had 2 interceptions and was good otherwise. Like, it wasn't just the 2 interceptions, but just the 2 interceptions helped to really seal a victory for a team that could really use the victory and was an upset, right? I mean, obviously, Michigan State is a team that we usually expect a good performance out of. They've struggled of late, but I think Mel Tucker has them headed in the right direction, and defense will be the North Star of that team. Moving on. Oklahoma State, once again, defense, right? The Big 12 has a defense, has defenses, and one of the best ones is Oklahoma State's. And Trey Sterling III had a 65-yard pick six, and just a good day all the way around. But that was, once again, a beautiful play that he made, and I will continue to watch Trey Sterling III as the year goes on and into the future. And Odiafon Olafoshio, I hope I got that, Washington linebacker, great game. And Washington as a whole, once again, the whole unit was really good. I'm going to shout out a few of the players, but he had a fantastic game. 10 assists, 4 solo tackles, he was everywhere. I mean, once again, when you sort of watch the game, you saw him somewhere in the frame, seemingly every play. And I'm just keep going. They had a terrific. Kyler Gordon had a terrific game. He had a solo tackle, he had an assist, he had a forced fumble, and once again, those guys was around the ball a lot. Trent McDuffie, a terrific young corner that they have. They always have good DBs, and Jimmy Lake is going to continue the great tradition of crown, just sort of churning out. But Trent McDuffie has a chance to be one of the really good ones. He's long and strong and, a really good corner. He had a great interception. He had a couple of solo tackles. He had a couple of assists. And, that game ender, really, interception that put the game on ice. Just a terrific game all the way around for him. And Davion Nixon, a second shout-out for him. He had a big man touchdown, and I've been watching him ever since, earlier in the season. But he had 5 solo tackles, 3 assists. He had 3 tackles for loss and half a sack, and maybe even a whole sack. I have to go back and see if they gave him credit for a whole sack. But he should have been credited. Either way, he credited pressure. He showed pursuit. He's about 306 pounds, but he can really move. And some other guys at Iowa had great games. I'm going to mention a couple others. I'm going to mention Nick Neiman, who is another guy that... even though he doesn't look like a freak athlete, he's probably a better athlete than people assume he would be, and showed strength at the point of attack when he was, when the play came his way. He showed he could fight through blocks. He had 5 solo tackles and 7 assists, and another guy that was just all over the field. And I have to mention Seth Hanson. Seth Hanson had 3 solo tackles, an assist, a tackle for loss, and a sack, and is used a lot of different ways in their defense. He's one of those guys that kind of moves around, floats around. And I think he's going to be a really good, probably play inside at the next level. We'll see. But I think he'll probably be an inside linebacker. I have to mention Troy Hairston II from Central Michigan. Had a couple of solo tackles, had 9 assists. Didn't get home there with a sack this time, but he showed you a lot of pass rush ability. He had some pressures, has good pass rush moves. And, when you think about sort of similar guys who can rush the passer even though they're like 5'10" and 3/4, you can't help but think of James Harrison, who, once again, another MAC guy who's super powerful and thick and strong, similar. And I have to mention my guy, Malcolm Koonce. Malcolm Koonce is, a guy that now is getting love from, draft Twitter and everybody, and Big Draft, or whatever you want to call it. Everybody knows about Malcolm Koonce now, but I've been talking about him for a while, and I'm a big fan. Everyone knows he's coming. Deep offenses always try to take him away, but they never can shut him down. He had 5 solo tackles, he had a sack, and he had a pass that he broke up. Just a terrific all-around player. Am I done? No! There's more! Maryland played a little earlier in the week, but they had a terrific performance by their defense. And I'm going to pick on one guy in particular. Now, I thought they were saying DK Bonhomme. But that's not his name. His name is DK Bonhomme, which is French for good man, and he is a good man. He had a terrific game. He had a sack that resulted in a safety, and he had a sack on Tulia Tagovailoa when they're playing against Maryland. That was one of the sort of game-changing plays. But he's a terrific football player, and I'm going to be watching much more of him going forward. Number 42, if you're looking, I believe, in the program. And speaking of a linebacker, really showed up. If you watch Colorado's defense has been progressing as well. And Nate Landsman is the heart and soul of their defense. And he had 9 solo tackles, 2 assists, 3 sacks, and a pass defended. He is a terrific football player. And once again, he shows you some of everything. He has some of all the qualities that you want to see. Carson Wells also had a great game. Carson Wells, once again, that defense is coming together, and those guys are part of a really good linebacker core. 5 solo tackles. He also had a sack. Just, once again, one of those players that you could drop into coverage. You can send him as a pass rusher, and is good against the run. And I mentioned Jarrett Patterson. I have to mention James Patterson. Now, Buffalo, I guess by comparison, didn't look too bad on defense. Only gave up 41 points when they scored 70, but he was terrific. 10 solo tackles, 3 assists, was once again everywhere. Could be used in coverage, really good against the run, just a terrific all-around player. Moving on. Michigan's defense, much criticized, and frankly, sometimes correctly criticized, had a real bounce back. And Jamon Green had a really good game. 6 solo tackles, also an assist, had a key pass breakup, was good in coverage. That's a player I'll be keeping my eye on going forward. I have to mention Quavon White of Georgia State. 2 solo tackles, an assist, an interception, and once again, just great in coverage. Probably projects to playing the slot defender at the next level. So I had not 1, but 2 pages of defensive superlatives this Saturday, or from that Saturday and the week that was, and I'm super excited about that. So that closes out this bunch of superlatives.